She vanished overnight. Texted me, "I'm leaving you." The next time I saw her, she was all over Instagram wrapped around a shirtless guy half her age. My car was gone. Our savings drained. Then came the wedding invites. With their names. But nothing prepared me for what I found in the hidden folder on her iPad. You ever get a text so shocking you check your phone 3 times just to make sure you didn't hallucinate it? Mine came at 9:42 a.m. on a Tuesday. It read, "I'm leaving you. I've already moved out. I'm in Miami now with Tony. He's 23. We're in love. Please don't try to contact me." That was it. No punctuation after the please. No explanation. No warning. My wife of 7 years gone just like that. I sat on the edge of my office chair in complete silence. Not shock. Not yet. It was like my brain didn't register what had just happened. I literally whispered, "What?" out loud. Then I reread it. And reread it again. Then I laughed. Like, not a funny laugh. That weird, dry laugh that sounds like someone just sucked all the air out of your lungs. I tried calling her. Straight to voicemail. I texted back, "What are you talking about?" Nothing. That morning had started totally normal. Too normal, even. She made coffee, kissed me goodbye, said, "Have a good day, babe." She was wearing those gray leggings and her oversized hoodie, hair in a messy bun. We joked about the neighbor's dog barking again. She even reminded me to take the trash out. She never came home. Now, I'm a detail guy. I work in insurance claims. It's literally my job to spot things others miss. But somehow I missed all of this. Every red flag. Every hint. And then the dominoes started falling. I left work in a panic and drove straight home. I don't remember the drive. I do remember opening our bedroom closet and seeing half of it empty. Like surgically emptied. Her side was just gone: clothes, shoes, bags, even her jewelry box. She didn't even leave behind that ugly denim jacket I always made fun of. I stood there, staring at her hangers like they could explain something to me. Next up, her nightstand. Empty. Bathroom shelf? Only my stuff left. No toothbrush. No makeup. It hit me right then, this wasn't spontaneous. This was planned. She had planned to leave. Down to the hour. While I was asleep in the same bed as her the night before, she already had her exit mapped out. That same night, I grabbed her old iPad from the kitchen drawer. She never used it anymore, but I knew it was still synced to her messages. My hands were literally shaking as I unlocked it. And there it was, weeks, months of messages with a guy named Tony. Yeah, that was his name in her phone. The first message I read said, "Can't wait to fall asleep with you tonight, baby. He's so boring I want to scream." I thought I was gonna throw up. Another message from her. "I've been dying to tell him. But I don't want to fight. I just want out already." Turns out Tony was a bartender she met during a girls' weekend in Miami 3 months ago. He was 23. She was 35. I'm 38. She'd been going back and forth to visit a friend since. That friend was Tony. They had a whole routine. He'd call her my queen. She'd send him selfies in my t-shirts. Remember when I said she reminded me to take the trash out? That was right before she left for her 3-day work retreat in Jacksonville. She never went to Jacksonville. I checked our airline miles account. No flights booked in her name. But our joint debit card? There were 2 charges from Monday, one for a rideshare to the airport and one for a hotel in South Beach under his name. She had used our shared money to book the trip where she left me for some 23-year-old bartender named Tony. I started texting her close friends, one of whom, Sarah, had introduced us. I asked her if she knew where Ava was. She left me on read. Another friend, Bree, just replied with, "I'm sorry. I didn't think she'd actually go through with it." That sentence hit harder than anything. Go through with it? So they knew. They knew she was seeing someone. They knew she was planning to leave me. And none of them said a word. And here's the sickest part. Her best friend sent her this message on the day she left. "Yes, girl. New city, hot boy, freedom. Live it." They were celebrating it. Like she'd just gotten a promotion or adopted a puppy. Later that night, I dug deeper. I checked our bank activity and saw a security deposit made out to a place called Sienna Lofts. Google told me it was in downtown Miami. Luxury. Pool. Gym. Ocean view. She had signed a 12-month lease with Tony 2 weeks ago. While I was thinking we'd have a quiet weekend and maybe watch a movie, she was signing a lease with a guy young enough to still be on his parents' health insurance. And this is just day 1. I haven't even started on what happened when my boss called HR because I seemed distracted. Or how her mom called me crying because Ava blocked her too. Or the fact that Tony had actually messaged me on Instagram before all of this. But I didn't see it until later. This is just the start. I was sitting in our kitchen at 2:37 in the morning, surrounded by silence, drinking a flat Coke from the fridge because I couldn't keep anything down. I hadn't slept. I hadn't eaten. I was just stunned, like I was in someone else's house, watching someone else's life fall apart. And then came the second wave, Tony. Around 3 a.m., I get a DM on Instagram. The name didn't register at first. Just a profile pic of a shirtless guy holding a beer. I opened it and my stomach dropped. Yo man, sorry it had to happen like this. Ava told me you were cool but just not her type anymore. No hard feelings. This dude had the audacity to message me, like we'd broken up over fantasy football. I didn't respond. I just stared at it, wondering what reality I'd woken up in where the guy who stole my wife thinks we're on speaking terms. Then he sends another message. A voice note. Yeah. A 44-second voice note. It was him laughing, saying, "She told me you're some corporate stiff who never even made her laugh. We're vibing out here, man. You should try it. Miami is a whole different life." I nearly threw my phone. The next morning I tried to go to work. Don't ask me why. I think I just needed anything that felt normal. I put on a wrinkled shirt, drove to the office like a zombie, and sat down at my desk. About 20 minutes later, my manager Mike taps on my cubicle. "Hey, you good?" I turned around, and I don't know what came over me. I just said, "She left me." And I laughed. Not a real laugh. One of those unhinged ones you do when you're 2 seconds from breaking down in a grocery store aisle. Mike looked at me like I just told him I got abducted by aliens. We stepped into a conference room. I told him everything in bullet points. The text. The guy. Miami. The messages. The lease. I even pulled up the bank transaction. To his credit, Mike was cool. He said I should take the rest of the week off. I think he was just afraid I'd snap in the copy room. Probably a good call. That afternoon, I got a call from her mom, Carol. I wasn't going to answer, but then I figured she might have some kind of explanation. Some missing piece that would make this all make sense. The second I picked up, I could tell she'd been crying. "Where is she? I've been calling for hours." Her number's disconnected. I told her what happened. Read her the text word for word. Silence on the other end. Then, she blocked me. Why would she block me? Turns out, Ava hadn't told anyone. Not her mom. Not her younger brother. Not even her cousin Julia, who she used to call her ride or die. She ghosted her own family. Carol broke down. She asked me if I knew where they were living. I said all I had was the Miami address on the lease, but I didn't even know the unit number. She just whispered, "I don't know who my daughter is anymore. Welcome to the club." Later that evening, I remembered we had a joint storage unit. Just a little thing we rented back when we moved in together. Held old photo albums, wedding stuff, boxes of random decor. I decided to check it out. Good thing I did. When I got there, the lock had been changed. So I went to the front desk, showed ID, and they reset it for me. The manager said Ava had come by 3 days ago with a young guy in a tank top and cleared out half the unit. When I opened it, I saw what was left. Some of my boxes shoved in the corner. Everything else. Our wedding photos, the guest book, our old couch pillows, all gone. She didn't just leave me. She erased me. Okay, this part made me feel actually stupid. So we had 2 cars. Hers was newer, leased under her name. Mine was older but paid off. Except, she had talked me into putting the car title in both of our names last year, for insurance purposes. I never questioned it. Well, guess who changed the address on the title and filed for a new copy? Found out when I went to check the registration status online. It listed a Florida address. Yep. She took the car to Miami, changed the registration, and is now cruising South Beach in the car I paid off over 5 years. And here's the kicker. I can't do anything about it without getting lawyers involved. She technically didn't steal it. She planned this. Weeks, maybe months ago. And still, no real explanation. No apology. No message from her. Just that single text, a DM from Tony, and a dozen breadcrumbs showing just how far ahead of me she'd been playing this game. But here's the worst part. The real emotional sucker punch. I found an old journal of hers in the nightstand drawer. One of those motivational ones with prompts and inspirational quotes. She had filled out a few pages last year. On the first page, under "What do you want most out of life?" she wrote, "Freedom. A life I don't have to fake." And that's when I finally cracked. Because somewhere along the way, the woman I married, the woman who used to cry watching dog rescue videos, who once drove 2 hours just to bring me soup when I had the flu, that woman stopped being real to me. Or maybe she never was. After the journal entry, after reading the word fake, I stopped sleeping. I mean that literally. I'd shut my eyes, but my brain would just replay every conversation, every trip, every moment we'd shared, like I was looking for signs I'd missed. Spoiler, they were all there. I just didn't want to see them. And it started with Tony's birthday. One of her old purses was still at the house. I don't even think she meant to leave it. Bottom pocket had a crumpled receipt from a hotel in Tampa. Dated 7 months ago. It was a 2-night stay. Room service. Champagne. I thought she only met Tony 3 months ago. So I called the hotel pretending to confirm a past stay. The guy on the line was way too helpful. He confirmed the reservation was under her name. 2 adults. 1 room. So either Tony wasn't some recent connection from her Miami trip or this had started even before then. Later that night, I cross-checked that date with my calendar. Guess where I was that weekend? At a marriage retreat. I went alone because she wasn't feeling well. She wasn't sick. She was in Tampa with Tony. Okay, here's the kicker. Tony wasn't just some guy she met at a bar. That would have been painful enough. Tony was the son of her old coworker, Monica. Back when Ava worked part-time at a local yoga studio, Monica used to bring her boyfriend in sometimes. She talked about him a lot, how he was so mature for his age, how he played guitar, how all the girls loved him. Ava even babysat him once when he was 16. Tony is now 20, which means she's known him since he was a teenager. And she's 35. Let that sink in. I found this out through Monica's Facebook. I don't even use Facebook, but I logged into my old account and started searching. There he was. Tagged in old birthday posts. Pictures with his mom. One photo from 2017 had Ava in the background holding a drink at a barbecue. I looked at the comments. Haha, Tony and Ava. Look how young he was. I just sat there, staring at the screen, hearing every alarm in my brain go off at once. This is not a joke. 3 days after I found out who Tony actually was, a package arrived at my house addressed to both of us. The label said it was from ENR Custom Press. I opened it without thinking. Inside, wedding invitations. The kicker? They weren't for us. They were for Ava and Tony. Apparently, she forgot to change the address on one of her stationery orders. It was a batch of sample designs for their future wedding. They'd picked a date. Next spring. Let me repeat that. Next spring. So not only did she leave me, not only did she run away with someone 15 years younger, she's planning to marry him. I don't even know if it's legal. I don't care. I stared at those cursive fonts and gold-foiled envelopes and felt something in me snap. Like the final screw coming loose. Out of desperation, I called her younger brother, Josh. We used to get along. Bonded over fantasy football and grilling on Sundays. I figured if anyone could explain what the hell was happening, it'd be him. He answered and said, "Dude, I was hoping you'd call." Turns out he hadn't heard from Ava either. She blocked him too. The last time they spoke, he said she was talking weird. Kept saying stuff like, "Real freedom means leaving dead weight and I want to be reborn." He assumed she was going through a breakdown. I told him everything, the text, the car, the lease, Tony. When I said Tony's name, Josh just went silent. Then he said, "No way. She used to have fun with that new boyfriend." Yup. He remembered. Apparently even he thought it was messed up. He offered to talk to her mom again, see if they could get Ava to reach out. She never did. Last part of this section. And yeah, this one hurt the most. I'm no tech guy, but a friend of mine from college is. I handed him the old iPad and asked if he could find anything else. Hidden stuff, I said. Deleted stuff. He got back to me 2 days later with a USB stick. There was a hidden folder in her notes app, he said. Password protected. Simple 4-digit code, 1988. Your birthday. Inside the folder were screenshots. Screenshots of chats with Tony. Screenshots of her texting friends about how bored she was with me. One said, "He's sweet but so dull. I feel like I'm married to oatmeal. Tony makes me feel alive." Another read, "Can't wait till this is over. I already feel free just planning the exit." But the worst? A video. I opened it. I shouldn't have. It was a selfie video of her and Tony in a hotel bed. She was laughing. He kissed her cheek. She looked into the camera and said, "Bye-bye, boring husband life. Time for my real life to start." That's when I finally stopped crying. I'd been crying every day since she left. But something in me broke watching that video. Not sad broke. Done broke. Like I just watched a part of my soul walk away and slam the door behind it. This story isn't over. But I was. Done hoping for answers. Done asking why. Done trying to wrap my head around something that didn't deserve that kind of energy anymore. She didn't just cheat. She escaped like I was a prison sentence. And now she was sipping cocktails, planning her rebirth while I was still sifting through the ashes of our marriage. I wasn't even numb anymore. I was functional. Like some version of myself had taken over, calculated, detached, tired of pain and fueled by a need for truth. I stopped checking for her texts. Stopped hoping she'd come to her senses. Instead, I started tying up loose ends. That's when the real damage came to light, stuff I didn't even think to look at in the chaos. Until a call from my bank flagged a charge I didn't recognize. One morning I get a fraud alert text from our joint credit card. A purchase flagged at a tattoo parlor in Miami. I hadn't shut the account down yet because it was used for some subscription stuff. I figured she wasn't using it. I was wrong. Turns out she'd been charging everything to the joint card. A $642 dinner at some rooftop restaurant. A boutique spa visit for $395. Hair extensions. Designer sandals. And yep, that tattoo. Guess what it was? I'll spare you the visuals. My friend found her public Instagram. Yes, she made it public again and sent me a screenshot. It's T. Reharda in cursive tattooed just above her hip. T for Tony. A for Ava. They didn't even try to be discreet. I finally lawyered up. I went to a divorce attorney who came recommended by two different friends who had been through messy breakups. She didn't waste time sugarcoating anything. We went through finances, the joint property, mostly mine, the car, and what assets I could reasonably protect. She asked, "Do you want revenge or results?" I told her, I want the truth on paper. Because that's all I could still chase at this point. She started doing what good attorneys do, running background checks, compiling timelines, and contacting institutions. And then she asked me something I hadn't prepared for. "Do you suspect she had anything to gain from leaving so abruptly?" "What do you mean? Was she in debt? Running from something? Anyone else involved?" You'd be surprised how many affairs get tangled with money laundering or legal issues. At first, I thought she was being dramatic. But then she pulled up a rental application Ava submitted for that Miami condo and it listed her employment as freelance consultant making $7,500 a month. Ava hasn't had a job in nearly a year. She quit her part-time yoga studio gig last spring. So where was that number coming from? Remember the friend who pulled files off her iPad? He found something else. There was an app installed that was password locked, but not encrypted, a crypto wallet. Inside? About $38,000 in Ethereum. All transferred from various anonymous wallets over the last 6 months. I confronted her brother, Josh, again. He was just as confused. But then he said something that clicked. She mentioned selling freedom packages on TikTok or something. Some pyramid scheme vibe. I thought it was nonsense. Turns out she was running some kind of fake empowerment coaching grift online where she charged men, and sometimes women, hundreds for confidence boot camps and virtual intimacy sessions. I almost laughed when I saw one of the ad scripts. It read, "Learn how to unlock your primal confidence and attract women like me. Book a private call with Ava now." It had her face on it. Our old apartment in the background. I had no idea she was doing any of this. She was running a side hustle selling fake intimacy advice to strangers online, using her real name while sleeping with a bartender and prepping a new life. Yup. One of the wedding invitation samples must have made the final cut because Josh texted me this. "Dude, she just posted a ring pic. Caption, he's the love I was always meant to find." I didn't check it. I refused to look. But others sent it too. Friends, coworkers, even her old roommate from college who I hadn't spoken to in 5 years. Ava had posted a picture of her hand with a basic diamond ring and Tony's arm in the background. Someone replied, "You look so happy." She had rebranded herself. New city, new man, new scheme. Like she was erasing the first 35 years of her life and starting over with her favorite edits. This part messed me up more than I expected. A week after that post, I was watching TV, trying to feel normal for once when there was a knock at my door. I opened it to find Carol, Ava's mom. She looked like she hadn't slept. Makeup smeared. Hair pulled back. Holding a folder. "I'm sorry," she said. She handed me the folder. Inside was a printed email thread between her and Ava. A lot of it was pleading Carol begging Ava to call her, to explain why she'd gone silent. In one of the replies, Ava wrote, "You'll never understand. I'm finally living my truth. I don't need approval. I don't need family. This is my new chapter and I'm not looking back." Carol looked at me with tears in her eyes. "She's gone," she said. "Not dead. Just not who we knew." We sat on the porch for an hour. She apologized for what, I don't even know. She didn't do anything. But I think she just needed to feel like someone could say sorry in this mess. Before I shut down our last joint account, I checked the recent history. One last charge. A necklace. Custom engraved. Shipped to her new Miami address. The engraving? Born again. T. This wasn't just a woman leaving her husband. This was someone detonating their old identity and walking away from the smoke with a smile on their face. And all I could do now was watch from a distance. It had been 4 weeks since the text that blew my life apart. 4 weeks since the iPad discovery, the secret crypto wallet, the fake coaching business, and her engagement announcement to a guy whose voice cracked in his Instagram videos. I thought I had seen everything. But this last part? I never saw any of it coming. One Friday afternoon, I got a package at my doorstep. No return label, just my name and address on a cheap padded envelope. At first, I thought it was junk. Maybe something I ordered half asleep at 2 a.m. But inside was a letter. Typed. 3 pages. And a photo was of us. Me and Ava. From our 2nd anniversary. We were on a rooftop patio laughing. It was printed on glossy paper, clearly a photo she had saved and intentionally chosen. The letter started like this. "If you're reading this, you probably hate me. I would too." She went on to say things like, "I never planned to hurt you this way and you were always good to me and I didn't know how to live with that." She talked about how she had spent years performing as someone's wife, daughter, employee, partner, and how Miami was her way of starting over without anyone's expectations. Then she said something that knocked the air out of me. "I don't know if Tony is forever. He's just the first version of freedom I could grab." Let that sink in. She didn't run off for love. Or passion. Or even excitement. She ran because I was safe. Because she couldn't handle being known, being stable, being accountable. Tony wasn't the destination. He was the exit. A week later, I was at a gas station when I got a blocked call. I usually never pick those up. But something made me answer. I said, "Hello," and heard. "Is this Eric?" My name. Not babe, not you jerk. Just my name. It was Ava. Her voice was weirdly calm. She said she called from a burner because she knew I'd block her otherwise. I said, "Why are you calling me?" And she replied, "Because I think I made a mistake. And I don't know what to do." Now before you think this is where the ex begs to come back, hold up. This was not that call. She told me she and Tony had broken up. That they'd gotten into a huge fight after she caught him messaging another girl. That he was partying every night. That he'd asked to open the relationship. I'll be honest, I smiled. Then she said the words that really hit. I thought I was the one escaping. But I think I just handed my life over who had no idea what to do with it. I asked why she was telling me all this. "Because you were the only person who ever loved me without trying to own me." I didn't respond. I just listened. She ended the call with, "I'm sorry. For all of it. I know I don't deserve anything from you. I just didn't want to disappear completely without saying something." Then she hung up. A month after that call, I was in a meeting with my lawyer when she dropped the latest news. Ava was being sued. Apparently, one of the men she scammed through her coaching business filed a fraud complaint. Then another did. Turns out she'd been taking money for private sessions and never delivering them. It was all documented. Emails. Cash App receipts. One of the guys even had screen recordings of her promising stuff she never followed through on. She went under investigation for online fraud. And once the IRS caught wind of her unreported income? Yeah. She was done. I don't know how that case is going to end. I haven't checked. I don't care. But I do know this. She deleted her public accounts. She disappeared off social media. Last I heard from her cousin, she was taking time away to figure things out. And Tony? He's back living with his parents. His DJ career lasted 3 SoundCloud mixes and a pop-up set at a hookah lounge. Here's the honest truth. I didn't deserve what happened. But I also ignored a lot of signs. I saw her getting distant. I heard the passive-aggressive jokes about my boring routine. I noticed the way she started dressing different, acting like she was 22 again. I brushed off the constant phone checking, the sudden girls' trips, the coldness, because I thought love would carry us through, because I didn't want to admit that the woman I married wasn't the same woman anymore. The truth is, I think Ava never wanted a life. She wanted moments. And when moments faded, she left. She didn't want a partner. She wanted a highlight reel. And when I stopped being shiny, she changed the channel. I got a promotion at work. I moved into a smaller place. Clean, quiet, no memories. I changed the locks, changed the bank accounts, changed my number. And yeah, I'm still healing. I go to therapy now. I talk to people more. I learned that love, without truth, is just decoration. And when someone leaves you by text, know this. They left you a long time ago. The message was just their exit music. So if you're reading this and you've been blindsided, hear me out. You're not broken. They are.